Hello and how are you? My name is Mohindo Bak and I welcome you to our 11th video of learning how to create web applications using Laravel admin. So we're going to take it from how I stopped at in the previous class, and today we're going to proceed with another chapter. So today we're going to look at how we can do the exporting of data, and also look at how we can modify the header and footer layout, and also can put like um, the total row, how I can implement the total row, and how I can implement the quick search also. So those are the things that we're going to cover today, and I hope you're ready to do this with me. If you are, let's go straight, and if time allows, we'll go ahead and learn more things than those. So let's go ahead and get started with our today's business without wasting much time. So as you know, we always use this project for practicing. It's called Hotel Pro, and I'll share the GitHub link in the comment description, so you can be able to get this source code from where I am here. But this is what we've always been using, and I recommend, if you really, this is your first video and you're still new in Laravel admin, I recommend you to go to the playlist on this YouTube channel of Laravel admin and do it, and start following along from video 1. So if you're already okay with it, then no problem, you can still take it from here. So let me go ahead and serve my project, which will be PHP artisan serve, and then our project will be served there. Okay, still loading. I'll go ahead and make sure that my example is started. It already started. Let me refresh again. Okay, I think there is another project on that endpoint. Let's see where it was served. It is not serving. Why? Let me see if there's another project that is being served on that same endpoint. I think there is another project that was serving on that endpoint. So let's go ahead and serve it again. Now at least it should work, I hope. Yeah, it's now working. Great. I'll go ahead and go to the login side. So that's our project. So as I've said, today we're going to look at how we can deal with data exportation. All right. So we're going to use which table? Should we use the mode of grid? Oh, let me first get here the controller. Let us use the mode of building. So it's going to be make, and then I'm going to put here export controller, and the class will remain the same. So I'll open the second terminal for running my commands, and here is my my route. So I'll go ahead and go to routes, and then I paste it here. But the only difference here, I'm going to put what? Export. Okay. So after, I'll come to our interface of menu, and we're going to add export under what? Under grid. Put the relevant icon. put the endpoint. I can put exports, something like that. So let me this on exports, and then I save. Now if I refresh, I should be able to see that here, and agreed. I be able to see export here. So to make it in order, I can go back and I put it in the right place here. And I save, and then it should be there in the right place. Okay, so let's go ahead and now start working on the real business. So that is our export value. Now let's go ahead and start doing what we're supposed to do right now. Okay, so the first things first. We begin with what? With the exporting data. So to export data in Laravel admin, you just simply do what? You just simply click on export. It will come with the default export. You can just simply click on export here, and then to start exporting. You see, I just click on export, and then it will export for me an Excel file. Okay, so it's not working, I think, because there is some issue. I hope I think this one, gallery one, is the one causing an issue because it's bringing an array. Let us see. Comment this one and you try again. Refresh, click on export, then it will export for us a file that we want. So if you say save, it will give you what? An Excel file with the data that is in your system. Okay, so that is very good. Now we're going to see how we can make this data making much more sense in our today's chapter, right? So let's go now get started. Okay, so if you come to documentation, so there's Laravel admin Excel 3 and Excel V2. So model has built-in export of CSV. So it has the built-in export of CSV. By default, the data displayed in list is exported to CSV. So by default, it will come with that exportation of Excel in a CSV file. Using the default export, there are following methods available. So if we want to use the normal export, these are the methods that are available that we can use to modify our Excel. Okay, so the first one is the file name. So this file name, it is straightforward. It will tell us the file name that you want to the user to get when they're exporting. For example, you see here, when I clicked on export, the file name, it came as what? It came as the buildings. Okay, so if you want to make to display another name when the user is downloading this, you can do what? You can use a file name CSV. So file name CSV, it will enable us to do what? To modify the name of the file. So for example, let's say that we want to change this file name CSV maybe to building list, something like that. So to do that, we just simply come here and first create a function of export that overrides export like this. So come here, can put on top, can put on bottom, anywhere you want, and simply say grid, and then say and point at export. And then open bracket, and then put function and put x like this, something like that. Okay, so that's it. So now after doing that, so the next thing is that that we're going to look at is now, for example, you want to modify the name, okay? So let us say that maybe you want to change the name to building list. So what you do, just simply say export, so this variable here on top, and then you call the method of building name, and then you pass whatever name that you want to modify these files for. For example, I can say buildings list. You can call it any name that you want. So if I come and save and come and refresh here, and click on export, you'll see the name that is being proposed here is building list. So that is how you modify Excel name that you want to display to the user. So the next thing is accept. Okay, so remember, for example, here when we tried to export, it brought an error until we commented this one that is bring an array. So what if you don't want to export that some specific columns, you want them to display on the screen, but you don't want to export them. For example, this one you want to export it. So if you want to do something like that, you'll have to do it to remove them from things that you want to export, which you use the method called accept, and it takes an array of columns that you don't want to do it to export. So for example, I don't want to export this column of gallery. So what will I do? I'll come to the grid, and then I put here export, and then I point at accept. And then so here in accept, it's where I put an array. Okay, you open an array and then pass in the things that you don't want to be exported. For example, I don't want to export this created date. I don't want to export the update date. I can put comma. I don't want to export the gallery column. Okay, so here it's where I put the column that you don't want to appear in exports. So if I come and refresh, and I click on export, and I save it, and I open it. So it's loading. So you'll see that the columns that we said that they should not be exported, they were really not exported. So it means it is what? It is working. So to go to another thing, which is the only. So the only is the opposite of except. So the except, for it will only allow you to sorry about that. I say that except for it will only allow you to limit things that you don't want to do it, to remove the thing that you don't want to export, as it sounds, except you export everything except those that you specify there. While the only, for it will only allow you to export specific column that you are interested in only. For example, if you're interested in specific column that you know only, you can implement this only and then list them there. Okay, just simply say only. So you have to use maybe one of the two. So say only this. So when you say only this, it will export only the one that you have put there in that column. Okay. So if you use only, you may not need to use except, something like that. Okay, because they are opposite to each other. And then we have original values. So for example, now sometimes let's say that we have this. Okay, let's say that we have this, and let me say the date when it was created. I'm going to override it and I display my own thing. Okay, let's leave the except. Of course, you've understood it. Now assume that let me just put except. You should not be exporting the gallery only. Let me leave this date. Okay, now assume that you display these dates in a different way. The date was created and then the date was updated, and I just simply come here and say display, and then I say function, and then I specify something like this that is going to change the date, the original date that was really there. So if I come and refresh here, you'll only see the date that I want you to see without this timestamp string. I can do the same here. Like this. Okay, so for it also the same thing. Okay, so now assume that you see, I mean, the whole point is here is we have changed the display of what of these things. Okay, you see I've already changed this one. Okay, so now assume that you want this item to come exactly as how it is in the database without being affected by these changes, because this one you can as well go ahead and start using. So if you want some changes to happen, then that's when you use the original value. So original value right now, for example, let's just try to export, and you see, click on export. You can see I am seeing exactly what is displaying what in the table. I hope you can see that. Like, look at the date. The date is originally timestamp, but it has just used the one that we did what that we used to display in the table. The one which is we overrided. I don't know. We overrided the display of the timestamp and display our own way, and that's the thing that has been exported. So what if you don't want this overriding of display to do what, to modify your exported data? For example, let's say that you want the original data. So what you do there, you have to come here again, and then say you specify the columns for which you don't want them to be modified with the data migration. For example, you may say maybe the created at column, you don't want it to be overread to be, I mean, to display what is in this form. So what you do, you can just simply say originals origin, let me get the right spelling, is original value. Okay, original value. So you now also go and set the original value that you always use. For example, I say I want to export created art as original as it is. Okay, let's say just only the created art as original as it is. So I'll come and refresh, and then I click on export. Remember, I only did on created art, and then I open it. You can see the created art, the original value came in, but since we did reach at the update art was not bothered with. So only the created art will, I mean, the original value will bring things that are really on database. Whereas if we leave it, it will bring the things that are appearing on on the screen. So I hope that is understandable. So another thing. Okay, so that's how we modify the data export. Okay, so all right, what else? If you want to override the specific column, maybe let's say that when you're exporting you want to change something. Okay, for example, let's say that you want, when you're exporting, you want to modify the gallery. Okay, something like that. So to do that, you can just simply let me first remove this except in the gallery. So I want to modify the gallery before it is really exported. Okay, so to do that, you just simply come here and you do like this. column and then grid, and then specify like that. So I can come here and say export, and then I point at the column, okay, and then you put here the column name, and then you modify how you want it to look like when you're exporting. Okay, so since it's an array, you see here I'm overriding and I convert it maybe to JSON, something like that. You can do anything that you want. Okay, so if I come here now, refresh and export, still causing the overriding issue. Okay, let me see how I fix that. Okay, let me use the let me use, for example, the photo. So I can say I'm overriding the photo, and then I can say maybe I want to add there maybe the base URL, or I need to check anything, or I need to modify, okay, anything, okay. So the value that is there in the table will come here, and the value that is original will be given to me here. Okay, so I can say if this one is null, if it is null, let me say I want to return to what? Maybe no photo. Okay, so let me see that if it has a photo, I can return here and say has photo, like this. Okay, so has photo, something like that. Let me remove these others. Okay, so the whole point is here, I'm trying to show you that we can even modify something before it is what? It is really exported. Okay, so this is how it just simply say column, and then specify the columns that you want to override, and then start writing there what you want exactly the user to see. Okay, so you come here and refresh. So you see here, the one which has photos, they're having add photo. So if I come and export, you'll see uh, those with photos have just been replaced with what? With has photo and has no photo. This one, okay? Hope you can see this column. So how did you do it? We just overridden the export column. I hope those are straightforward, and I hope you're understanding. So that is how we do it. That's how we disable the column or we modify the column. So Laravel 3 version has after 1.6 version, first install Laravel Excel. So Laravel 3, it comes with in case now you want to export the real Excel, you first install this Laravel Excel. Let me open it and we see if we can do it right now. So I have to first install this guy. So let's go ahead and install it. Yeah, I didn't have time, but let's try to do we give it like 5 minutes and see. Because I've never used it, I always use the CSV one. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at documentation. So documentation is here. quick start. So you have to export, I have to install it like this. Get started, I think, introduction here, installation. So it is going to delay as it is installing the package. So it is going to take a minute as it is doing what? As it is compiling. So after adding that, the next thing you have to go to providers, which is under configuration, the app. So to come here to app, and then we'll go to config and then app.php. All right, so now we have to do the next step, which is you go to providers, which is under configuration, the under app, and then look, search for providers. So here are the providers. I'm going to add the Excel provider. So it has finished installing. So I'll go ahead and copy this this service, this provider as it is here, and then I come to app, and then look for provider. The providers are here. Okay, so let me go ahead and add the one with Excel there. So after doing that, so they say that you go to config app.php, and then you go for aliases here. I've never used it before, but let's give it a try. So in this aliases, what do? We pass Excel, and then we pass that value. So let's go ahead and do that here. So after doing that, we run PHP add and publish. So we're going to publish this so we can have this Excel configuration. Go ahead and copy that and then publish. Open the second terminal, publish. I hope it will work. So yeah, it has done, finished. So to make sure that it has finished successfully, come to configuration. You'll see Excel .php. I hope. Come to configuration, and then you should be able to see Excel.php. This one is here, I think. It's under vendor, under mat website stroke Excel, and then under Excel, under config, under Excel.php. So that's why you can do what? You can put your configuration for that particular Excel sheet. Okay. So after doing that, I think that's all. So let's come back to Laravel. And let's see if when our project is still running even. Yeah, it is still running. Then you come back to Laravel admin. They say that they support you. Have to first install this Excel. I've installed it. Then you create the export class. So we're going to create the export class. I don't know how we're going to put it, but we can create it. So I can say maybe rooms exporter. So you have to create a class of export. So I'm going to call it maybe building exporter. Dot PHP. Always remember to use the first capital letter. So I just simply come and say class, and then first open my PHP, and then say class, then put the name of the class, and then open bracket like this. So they'll have defined the class. So they say that this class should extend Excel exporter. So I'll come here and try to put export Excel exporter. Then I'll go ahead and import what is required. So after importing that, I think that's it. Let's go ahead and select next. Then use this class in the grid by simply saying exporter grid exporter equals new whatever. So let's go ahead and do that. So we'll come to our building, our exporter controller here, and then come here to exporter, and then I say new, and then you specify here the class of the Excel exporter. Just began this. Okay, so I'll come here and put, let me go ahead and copy the name here. Alright, I'll go ahead and copy this name and then come back here and paste it. So I'll make sure that the name is imported. So that's it. So I've just already the export, and by specifying this, so if I come and refresh, okay, class not found. One thing they say that you have to use namespace of extension here. Let's try and see. Alright, let me take this as a homework. I'll do it off camera, and maybe in the next class I'll come and I'll fix it. But I'll take it off camera. Yeah, I'll do it, and then while I have already fixed it. I think we just need to put this one in the right folder called extension. Anyway, I'll do it later, and then I come while I've done what? While I fixed it. And you see how I can export using what? Using the Excel model. Add new create here. App admin extensions. I think the folder. Let's try to put in the right folder and see. App admin, then new folder extensions, and then we move this one here. Let's try again. Just adding this one extensions, okay. So yeah, that was the problem, eh? Let's remove this. Remove this. Like this, okay. So what have I done? I just had to put a folder called extensions here, and that's where I put the class of extension. Now if I and then you come here to new and then say exporter, and then you specify that class. So now if you come and refresh, then put only one callback. And then click on export. File name. Alright, I think we have to override a few methods there in, for example, file name and column. So you put these methods in what? In your exporter here. For example, this one. Just protected and then file name. So if I refresh, you see it is now what? It is now working. Just simply come and now click on export. You'll see it exporting here. And I'm able to export it in form of what? In form of Excel. So that is alright. That is very nice. Okay, so the data comes in form of what? In form of Excel. Okay, so and you know Excel is the most stable way. So now if you want to apply your settings of Laravel admin, I think you can now uncomment this. So you can have the filters back like this, okay? So that's how we export in a real Excel file. So give it a try also. So now there are more things that you have to implement now. For example, specifying the columns how they should be exported. So there are more hooks that you can do it, that you can look at. Okay. Yeah. All right. That's how you implement the what? The exporter for you. You can go ahead and try also exporter what? Exporter 2. So time has not allowed us because I was trying to be as complete as possible. So in next class we'll begin from here, where I will see how I can modify the header and the footer. So don't miss in the next class. we're going to put this whole thing to the next level. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel so when you post you don't miss a what thing. And goodbye, see you in the next class.